Alright guys, welcome to the second video. This is going to cover from 17 to... Okay, so if you did not watch the original video from 1 to 16, there is a special formula that you will use to solve these types of word problems. And that formula is y equals ab to the x. A represents the principal or starting amount, and B represents what's called the growth or decay factor. So you will have 1 plus the rate will give you a growth factor, and then 1 minus R will give you the decay factor. So in this particular question, it says that he is estimated to be worth $525,000 today, and it's increasing at 4.5% each year. So remember to take that 4.5 and divide by 100. So your function should always say y equals. Don't forget that y equals, because you know I will take off points. And then 1 plus the rate, because it's increasing. And the rate is 0.045, because we changed that 4.5% to a decimal. And always have it to the x power. Now, when you're actually trying to figure out how much it's worth in 15 years, you are going to now raise it to the 15th power. Now, I added 1 plus 0.045. You don't have to if you don't want to, but it will allow for you to get the answer of $1,016,023.28. Okay, the next one talks about a population of polar bears. So set it up. It's actually declining at a rate of 0.24%. So you're going to take that 0.24, divide it by 100, and get 0.0024. So we have 21,500 polar bears times 1 minus, because it is a decay factor, 0.0024 to the x. That's what you should have there first. So I decided to subtract them. You don't have to, but they want to know what happens and how many polar bears in 20 years. So please make sure that you know that these are polar bears, and polar bears, when you work this out, came out to 20,491.1942. Eliminate the 0.1942 because we're talking about living things. So you would just say 20,491 bears. Okay, here we're talking about the value of land. So we're going to say $250,000 times 1, and it's saying that it's increasing, so 1 plus, and take that 12.5 and divide by 100, and you get 0.125 to the x. Now they said how many years. Whenever you see that, you know that you're going to be going to your y equals, and you'll be looking at your second graph, which represents your table. In the table, you'll be looking for two things. You'll be looking for the x value. This represents the years, and then here this represents the amount of money. So we're looking for the amount of money that is greater than 400,000. So to set it up here, you're going to say 400,000, and then you'll say 250,000 times 1.125 to the x, and we don't know what x is. So then you would look at your table, and as you scroll down your table, so let's take a look at this on our table. So we'll go to the y equals, put in 250 times 1.125 to the x, And then we're going to scroll down the table and keep looking at all of these values until they're greater than 400,000. And the first time that that occurs is here at 4. So at 4 years and $400,452, that's when we have land being worth more than 400,000. So the answer to this question would be x equals 4. Just make sure that you write this down first. That's the work that you have to show. Alright, that's it with the word problems. So now we're going to look at transformations. Remember, transformations are based off of this model. A tells you whether you have a reflection, and then B tells you whether you have a vertical shift. Not vertical shift, vertical stretch, or vertical shrink. And then remember, B tells you whether you're growing or decaying. The H tells you moving to the right or left. And the K tells you whether you're moving up or down. And K is also, if you forgot, your asymptote. So if we look at the first one, the only change that occurred from original, because these are all the originals and these are the new, the only change that occurred was the negative, so it's just a reflection over the x-axis. For number 2, we had 2 changes. We had the negative and the -2, which tells us that it's a reflection over the x-axis. And so 2 things occurred. It shifts, and please don't forget the word shifts, right 2. Remember, you always do the opposite when it's next to x. Here, the only thing that changed was this +6, so it shifts up 6. Here, there were 2 changes from the original, this +3 and the -4, so it shifts left 3 and down 4. And the last thing that it does here, the only change was that +2, so it shifts up 2. So make sure you pay attention to what each piece is doing and seeing what the change is. This 2 here and the 2/7 don't represent any changes from the original that was on the left. And make sure that you remember anything next to x is the opposite. Alright, now to the compounding word problems. So here we have this first formula here. You will use that when it's compounding. If it's not compounding, don't use it. And we talk about compounding yearly, quarterly, monthly, daily, and then minutes and seconds, but we don't really do the minutes. So yearly is once a year. Quarterly is 4 times a year. Monthly is 12 times a year. And daily is 365 times a year. The PERT formula is used when you're compounding continuously. So anytime you see the word continuously in the word problem in terms of compounding, you would use the PERT formula. These 2 formulas are usually used for bank accounts, savings, things like that. Alright, so the first one is talking about Chevy Chase Bank. So we use the first formula, and we say that we have $1,000 times 1 plus the rate, which is 9% over 100. So 0.09. And it says that it's compounding yearly, so that's once a year. All raised to the 1 times 6 power. I know in class I put to the 1 times x or the 1 times t, but you can write it like this, that's fine. So the value, once you put it all together, would give you $1,677.10. Alright, the next bank was Wachovia, and it compounds quarterly, so that's 4 times a year, and the interest is 7.5%, so we'll divide that by 100, and we get 0.075. So we have 1,000, 1 plus 0.075 divided by the quarterly, all raised to the 4 times 6 power. And that's $1,561.79. The last one is Bank of America, and that's compounding continuously, so you know that has to be the PERT formula. So we have 1,000 E, first time we're introducing E, 2 over 100 is 0.02 to the 0.02 times 6 power. And for that we get $1,127.50. So which bank is the better choice? Well, better choice means more money, so that must be Chevy Chase. And that's because you earn or gain more money in 6 years. Or I should say gain the most money in 6 years. Okay, so you do have to explain yourself on the test. Alright, next section says that you have your first paycheck and it is compounded continuously. And the first paycheck is $220, and that is E because it says continuously. Now that's 0.7%, so you have to divide that by 100, and that gives you 0.007. And they want you to keep it in for 3 years. So you wind up having $224.67. Now they want you to put it in a checking account, so this is a different account. So they want you to put in a checking account that compounds monthly. So for that one you're going to use the other formula, not PERT. And it's 220 times 1 plus still 0.007. But now divide that by 12 and raise that to the 12 times 3 power and see what you get. And you wind up getting $224.67. So ironically, you get the same amount of money. So would you lose any money by putting it into this account? You would say no, because you get the same amount. So make sure we're reading, okay? Make sure we're reading what the questions are asking, looking for keywords like compounding continuously, compounding monthly. Okay, last question are your E's. So anytime it says evaluate, I need a decimal answer. And make sure that that decimal answer is to 3 decimal places. So e to the 1.7, that's 5.4739. So that 9 at the end is going to round the 3 up to 4. Okay, 2 times e to the 1/2. That's going to be 3.297. And all of these you can just put in the calculator. And then negative 4 e to the negative 3 is negative 0.199. Now the next part says simplify, so I need to see no decimals. You're going to treat e like it's a variable. So this first one, you're going to distribute your powers. So 3 gets the square, and e to the 4th gets the square. When you work it out, 3 squared is 9, 4 times 2 is 8. Remember this rule, you subtract your exponents, so it's 2x minus 5x, and that's negative 3x. Since we have no coefficient here, we have like an imaginary coefficient of 1. Your answer would be 1 over e to the positive 3x. And then the last one, you multiply your coefficients and add your exponents. So it'll be 14e to the 3. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. Alright, that concludes the review. These are every question that you need to know for tomorrow's test. Remember, if everybody passes, every single person in the class, if everyone passes, I will get you guys pizza and have a pizza party. Okay? So, good luck. Remember, the formulas to remember are, for this particular video, the formulas to remember are your PERT formula and your compounding formula. And also remember your transformation formula. Alright, good luck everybody.